91.7.
Beautiful Wednesday morning transmission on Prestige Radio 91.7 FM right here in Mina, Niger State. You are very much welcome to the midweek edition of the program Nigeria Today, which is a news and current affairs program where we take a look at trending issues within and outside the country. My name is Maimuna Muhammad Babangida, and I have my co-presenter and analyst at the same time. And this beautiful Wednesday morning, we'll be taking a look at the World Climate Change Summit 2024, which is currently holding in Baku, Azerbaijan, with Niger State's contingents there also representing the state and Nigeria at large, how Niger State is coping with the issue of climate change and other procedures being taken by the state government in order to address this issue of climate change. So it's a meeting of key stakeholders on climate change ahead of COP29. So this is our focus this beautiful Wednesday morning in the program Nigeria Today. You can be part of the program by calling through the number 09038 808883. That is 09038 808883. Or you can post your comments on our Facebook page, Prestigefm91.7mx on Facebook, and of course YouTube, Prestigefm91.7mx, and on radio app, prestigefmradio.org.ng. Dr. Muhammad Ansalali, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, and good morning, our listeners.
All right, it's all about climate change, how to address the effects of climate change, and of course, those trying to safeguard the globe. The summits, World's Climate Change Summit 2024, currently holding in Azerbaijan, and Niger State is well represented. Let's look at what even necessitated these particular summits, World Climate Change Summit.
The World Climate Change Summit is an idea that has been there since 2005 when the world leaders gathered for the first time to address the issue of climate change.
Okay.
Signs are there long before now that the world is gradually changing as a result of human activities on the face of the earth. Forests are rapidly changing into savanna areas, and savanna areas are equally rapidly changing into Sahara deserts, desert encroachment, as well as global warming. All of these have added to the issues of flooding disasters that have occurred in several places of the world, especially in southeastern part of Asia, as well as in the southwestern part of Asia, where Bangladesh has. World leaders gathered for the first time in Stockholm, Sweden, and began to address this matter of climate change and how to go about it. During that summit, the ones who are mostly cause the issue of climate change as well as global warming made a pledge to raise $1 billion annually to cushion the effect of climate change, especially in third world nations like our countries of Africa and even Asia, who are mostly and worstly affected by the issue. Conference also took place in 2007. Nothing has happened. World leaders, industrialized nations have disappointingly not been able to raise the requisite funding to address the issue of climate change. And today, the whole of climate change have come to engulf the entire surface of the earth, and everybody is becoming much more concerned, including industrialized nations. And that is why effort of decarbonization of the world is also on the offing you can see that many countries of the world today are also advocating that there should be a much more environmental friendly energy source, and hence that also brought about the issue of green energy. Today, most leaders of the world are advocates of green energy and how to revamp the environment. Many of the environmentalists are up and doing in ensuring that the environment is revamped one more time. You can also see the struggle being made by the indigenous people of the Amazons, who have vehemently rejected development that are being taken to the Amazon forests. And we've seen how the Aborigines in Australia are equally making a strong presentation to defend the environment. So the COP29 is the 29th session of the issue of climate change, and today world leaders have gathered in Baku in Azerbaijan to address this matter. And Niger State is among the subnationals that are present in that summit. And yesterday, the Niger State representatives, led by the Secretary to the State Government, Alhaji Abubakar Gawu, made a strong presentation at the Nigerian pavilion before the world leaders. The presentation was so fabulous, very excellent presentation. And the idea is to draw the attention of world leaders on the potentialities of green energy available, green economy available in Nigeria, in Niger State. The idea is to draw the attention, and by extension also, draw the attention of investors to come to Niger State and see how they can harvest from the potentialities of the green economy that is available. Don't forget that the government of Umaru Muhammad Bago had also advocated same right from inception, the idea of revamping green economy. If you recall, there was also a summit on green economy that was held here in Niger State early this year. So the summit in Baku in Azerbaijan is simply a build-up to the summit that was held in Niger State here. And the presentation was so fabulous, and we simply continue to pray that as Niger State made that presentation at the Nigerian pavilion, we should be able to see more investors coming for fact-finding, first and foremost, to see how friendly the environment is for them to actually come to Niger State and make investment. This is the first time that we are seeing a strong representation coming from Niger State. In the past, we've had presentations few times by our delegates, but the delegation this time around is so unique that they are able to put in place a presentation, a content that have attracted the attention of world leaders. Many of the world leaders who initially wanted to just come and pass by have to stay and listen to the presentation made by the Niger State delegation. And in all of this, the Niger State delegation had advocated for decarbonization of the earth.
Okay, let's look at it from that context, the stand of Niger State in this summit. The paper presented, how does it directly affect the well-being of Nigerites?
Of course, yes. We will agree that in Niger State is a vast arable land, suitable for green plants. And we've not been able to harness up to 45% of the potentialities of green economy that is available to us. We've also have a high level of water levels in Niger State, which has not also been adequately utilized. So you can see these three available ingredients are very friendly for will-be investors. First, the land is there. Secondly, the water bodies are there. And then thirdly, the green plants are equally there. And the environment is equally friendly and can equally accommodate probably some other species of green plants that are likely to be imported into Niger State. And as we are talking now, we have a lot of reserves that are lying fallow, not being utilized. If you look at if you go to Borgu area, Of course, we have the games reserve there, the Kainji Games Reserve that has not been harnessed. Even the Kainji Lake is equally there. We also have so many other lands that are right now accommodating forest and have not been properly utilized. As gazetted, Niger State is said to have about 29 forests. 29 forests, none of these forests has been put to use. What is even rather happening is that trees that are making up the forest are being fallen on daily basis by those who make charcoal. So you can see that we've not been able to harness the potentialities of the green materials that are available to us. So I believe that part of the content of that presentation yesterday was the availability of most of these lands, the availability of the green materials, as well as the availability of water bodies in Niger State that will make it much suitable for investors to come in and make a heavy investment in Niger State. And I believe that the government of Umaru Mohammed Bago will not rest on its oars when they come back. They should come back here and begin to put some of the primary items that they should put in place, such as making available tree seedlings for planting. This rainy season have gone already. They have to come back here and make a lot of effort to acquire more tree seedlings. About 1 million tree seedlings were donated by the federal government last year, and I doubt much if half of that trees were planted at all. Many of those trees will have to be wasted because there was little awareness on tree planting in Niger State. So there's the need for the government to, when they come back, to come and make a conscious effort to sensitize Nigerites on the need to plant trees, especially food trees. And we also have cash trees. And these cash trees can have the potentialities to bring in the requisite added income to Niger State. The shea butter, for example, and so many other cash trees that are naturally available in Niger State can be regenerated and be replanted again, since many of them have fallen victims of those who are making charcoals. And I believe that if these trees are being planted.
Okay, apart from the issue of the green economy, the Niger State strives so far, let's look at an area that affects Niger directly, talking about energy transition. You know that as a result of falling down of trees, Niger State is fast approaching deforestation in some aspect because we are using it for charcoal. But alternative sources of energy, how can Niger State harness that?
Yes, in terms of alternative sources of energy, you know, like I told you, Niger State is environmentally friendly for trees, and there are a lot of trees today that can plants. That can be used as sources of energy, and this type of plants are always available in other parts of the world. So investors coming from other parts of the world can readily bring this kind of species of crops and plant them in Niger State so as to have this alternative sources of energy rather than fallen trees all the time. And you know, even Japan, which is one of the world leaders in terms of production of gas, have been rebuked by participants at the summit because Japan is advocating for the expansion of the use of gas as a source of energy. And the world have simply submitted that gas is never environmentally friendly, but Japan is the one supplying most of the Asian countries with gas and does not want to let go of that business. And what it advocated was what it called the ASEC, the Japan ASEC proposal. The proposal is for Japan to expand its gas stations where it will be able to supply more countries with gas. But Japan was knocked on the head, and I think one representative, I've forgotten from which country, have to challenge Japan about its contribution to even the issue of generating funding for climate change. And you know, these are some of the things that are happening because some countries felt that by decarbonization of the earth, they may be knocked out of business.
Definitely.
Because this probably is one of their mainstay of the economy. And if the world is now saying that there are no more to issue of gas, it is likely to suffer economically. So, but I believe that world leaders themselves, especially those in advanced nations, must make a sincere effort this time around. Sincere effort to raise the requisite funding to address the issue of climate change in third world nations like Nigeria and other African countries. And the third world nations like Nigeria and African countries themselves must come out clean. Because what world leaders have always alleged is that perverted wanton corruption is what has discouraged them from raising the requisite funding for third world nations. Because many of the fundings that were raised in the past simply went into private pockets.
Unfortunately.
And issue of climate change was never adequately addressed. Here you are in Niger State, for example, we had issues in the past when the ecological fund came to Niger State and how that ecological fund was siphoned. So you can see that issues like that can put off a will-be world, leading nation that want to even intervene in terms of providing the requisite funding. So in as much as the leading industrialized nations are reluctant to raise the funding, third world nations must equally come out clean on the issue of corruption. Because up to today, since 2007, when the world leaders pledged to raise $1 billion, that $1 billion have not been raised. But even the little that was raised and sent to third world nations as interventions were simply siphoned into private pockets. You know, in Nigeria, for example, we have issues of desertification, desert encroachment that is at alarming rate now. We have issues of flooding that is equally at an alarming rate. And we also have issues of global warming. And it is equally affecting us because global warming is what brought about flooding. The ice cap is melting rapidly. And since the ice cap is melting, large chunk of ice is sinking into the sea, making the sea to overcome its shores and boundaries, and therefore spilling waters into onto the earth. Even the Americans are today suffering from a lot of flooding, mostly as a result of hurricane and some other wind-related disasters that are coming from the sea. So you can see that in all of this, everybody is suffering, but we all have different capacities to accommodate the disaster when it comes.
Okay, Niger State held a Green Summit recently, early this year, and of course, let's look at a peep into the Niger State's green economy blueprint. What does it entail that align with the current summit?
Yes, well, if you look at the blueprint of the Niger State green economy, if I can recall that correctly, one of it, like I said, is how to utilize the vast arable land available in Niger State, one, and then how to utilize the 29 gazetted forests in Niger State. You can see that the forests, some of them are already serving as accommodation for bandits and some other criminal elements. And some of them are equally lying fallow, not being utilized. And then some of them have already been taken apart by those who are fallen trees for charcoal and other businesses. So you can see that the forests have not been adequately utilized, and the blueprint, part of the blueprint is to see how this forest can be utilized as means of generating income. Planting more trees, especially cash trees that can generate money for Niger State, and then the water bodies too. Niger State have high water bodies, a lot of water bodies than even the state of Kano and Jigawa combined. But you can see Kano and Jigawa today are leading in terms of irrigation farming. So Niger State can equally utilize this opportunity to see how it can utilize the water bodies for irrigation farming. And I think that is equally part of the blueprint for the green economy. And then so many other things, including making the whole environment to look very friendly and very greenish, so that investors at every point in time can be attracted to come in and invest in almost every facet of human endeavor, be it in terms of infrastructure and so on and so forth.
Okay, away from that, how has the message of green economy reached the rural areas? One thing is having blueprints, another is engaging the locals in that particular region to key in to this program.
That is why I have said it from the onset, if you heard me, that there is a need for the Niger State government to create more awareness among citizens of Niger State, to create more awareness among the locals on what the government intend to do with the issue of green economy. Because it's one thing to have an agenda, a blueprint on paper, and it's another thing for the locals to properly key into that project. Like I said, the Nigerian government donated about 1 million trees to Niger State last year, and I doubt much if half of those trees were planted. So you can see that if that has happened, it means that the locals are never carried along. So there is the need for the government to create awareness machineries. And this is where I also challenge the information managers to work hand in hand with the concerned ministries. Thank God we have the Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Environment and Green Economy, I believe. So this is the time for the ministry to work hand in hand with the information managers and with also experts, bringing in extension services or officers who will go into nook and crannies of Niger State advocating for this issue of green economy. As much as the government of Umaru Mohammed Babu had talk more about agriculture, revamping agriculture and infrastructure, I expect that more should also happen in the areas of this green economy. But you can see little have been said about it, and the locals have largely remained unaware. And there is a seeming gap between the citizens and the government and the policy as well. This is owing to the fact that the citizens have been kept at bay and do not have much knowledge of what the government intend to do. Even the summit itself ought to have been ought to have resonated into the local environment so that whatever has been discussed at the summit there can be reinterpreted into local languages so that local people can be carried along. But the planting season is gone for this season. Maybe the government should come back here now and make a conscious effort to see how it can address some of these issues. One thing I strongly believe is that when an idea attains a stage of maturity, nothing can stop it from happening.
Definitely.
And the green economy issue is gradually coming on and probably have not attained the kind of stage of maturity that it should. And that is why maybe up till now we are seeing the slow nature of the implementation of the policy. But I believe that the Commissioner of Environment, information managers in Niger State, the government of Niger State need to do more. After addressing the world on the potentialities of green economy available in Niger State, and that which has also held many world leaders spellbound to begin to grow curiosity about Niger State, they should come back here and do the needful to put in the necessary foundation so that when the will-be investors will be arriving, they should be able to see something that they can lay their hands on.
Okay, let's open up the phone line. 0903-880-8883 is the number to call in, of course, make your comments. Hello, good morning.
Again, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Dr. Bentala, good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Thank you. Well done. My name is Babali.
All right, Babali, make your comments.
Dr. Bentala, I'm afraid. You see, having forestries in Niger State is a very welcome idea and good development. But the fear is the bushes we are having in Niger State have become hideout for bandits and insurgency. The security challenges we are having. Because we are seriously in a problem in Niger State because of the largeness of the land of Niger State and the bushes we are having. And if at all now we can go ahead and have more forests in Niger State, it's a welcome idea, it's a development. But how do we do with these insecurity issues? In fact, we have a Ministry of Forestry along this Federal Secretariat beside this secondary school, Girls' Day Secondary School, Old Airport. That place is gone, it's dead. So I don't think what the government is doing in terms of what are they doing. Even Dr. Bensala mentioned that the trees that we are mentioned that supposed to be planted, they are not planted, and everybody knows that yes, those trees are not planted. And every day in, day out, we are killing these trees, making firewood and timbers for building on daily basis. So these are the challenges. I don't know, how do we take care of this? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bradley.
This is a very big challenge, because it is one thing, like I have kept saying, to make a ceremony out of everything. There are certain things that you don't reduce them to ceremonial issue. When the Green Economy Summit was held in Niger State, everyone thought that there is going to be a follow-up. But you can see that since then, not much has happened. And government have put in so much effort in revamping agriculture. And the green economy is a related matter to agriculture too. I hope that the government will redirect its attention, as it is making a lot of inroads into agriculture. Let it also make a lot of inroads into the green economy situation. We want to see a kind of a transformational agenda being unfold in Niger State, so that as we move on, we should be able to see a clear demarcation from what is happening in the past. We are seeing, but in this area of green economy, not much has been seen since the summit in Niger State. And we hope that in the next year's budget, a lot will be provided, so that more and more effort will be made to see how this green economy thing is taking off, and how the investors can come in and see how they can put in the requisite funding.
Hello, okay. 0903-880-8883 is the number to call in. Of course, make your comments, or you can post your comments on our Facebook page, Prestige FM Mina, on YouTube, Prestigefm91.7 mx, and on radio app, prestigefmradio.org.ng. Hello, good morning. Okay, let's take some comments on our Facebook page. This one coming from Isa Asali is saying, we are praying and hopeful that after the summit, something good should follow, not audio summit. Thank you very much, Isa Asali. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Auntie Memuna. Good morning this morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Professor Dantola. Good morning.
Morning.
Carry us back to classroom. I really appreciate your program. I see the main prince, like the Hadi photo, called from Gomutaneboso. You see my problem in this country. The green change we are talking about, especially in Nigeria and Niger State. First of all, believe me, are you take it or leave it? How much are you buying a gas of a kilogram gas now, cooker? How much are you buying a pieces of firewood today, where the kerosene is no more there? There's no anything, all this can be achieved without no get all these two especially gas and kerosene, so that our timber will be stopped the cutting in the forest. We are talking about especially insecurity. It was like what our brother said there. 53 almost billions of naira are being spent to plant where the trees are there. They bring it and return it back to where the money is coming from. Those are the things we're talking about. When the government is serious of program, they must back it with the seriousness, especially in action. If we talk from here to tomorrow and it becoming audio, how do you think we'll get this picture green summit we're talking about? We must wake up for our slumber and do the right thing, so that it can go well in this country. To eat is not easy. Where can you buy a corner? It's not easy, and man must work. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. 0903-880-8883 is the number to call in. Of course, make your comments. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Hadia Memuna, Dr. Dantala. Good morning. My name is Jimenji Astan. I am a climate change expert. I'm a climate change advocate. I am resident in Niger State.
All right, sir.
I am very impressed with the conversations that you are having now. And I want to come in from Nigeria as a whole is participating in the conference of parties in Baku. Niger State is well represented, and I want to believe that the Commissioner for Environment and Climate Change in Niger State should have also been part of the delegation that Niger State could have sent to the conference in Baku.
All right. Hello. Hello, sir. I hope you call back. There's another expert there.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we had issues with the
Yes,
line.
ideally the commissioner should be there, but the delegation...
The commissioner is there.
Yes,
Environment and Climate
Yes,
Change.
the delegation is led by the secretary to the state government.
And other experts also, both local and international.
Exactly.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Hajia. Good morning, Dr. Dantala.
Good morning, sir.
This is Mr. Butej from Janaima, Wishishi Estate.
All right, sir, make your comment.
Sometimes I'm surprised because this climate summit is something good that we always pray that something good should come, having in mind how both nature and man-made activities are affecting our climate. Unfortunately, even from the draft, if you look at what happens to the Glasgow summit, even some countries, some developed nations, did not sign the treaty, the draft treaty, probably because of the aim of shipping the e-waste to developing countries. And again, there are in our own country, for instance, there are some factors that I look at it as militating against our climate well-being, e.g. the production of plastic, for instance, and the burning of plastic waste as well. Because this could generate a lot of toxic chemical, and it will pollute the environment completely. For Niger here, we are lucky we don't have much of these factories. But we cannot rule it out in the whole country because I believe some parts of Nigeria, they have these plastic processing factories. So how is government doing to tackle, especially some pharmaceutical company as well, they can pollute the environment very well. So going to this summit and taking into cognizance what both pharmaceutical and these plastic producing factories are doing to our environment. What is our government doing to alleviate this suffering? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. He brought the issue of another issue that affects the environment, plastic.
Yes,
plastic
waste.
And you see, it is part of the industry that is thriving right now in Nigeria, in Niger State. You see plastic producing companies here and there, some even situated within residential areas, despite its environmental pollution and, of course, threats to the health of the people there.
Yes, exactly. The plastic industry is blossoming, and many of the third world nations today are grappling with how to manage plastic waste. If you go into most of those nations that are bordering with oceans, you see a lot of plastics floating on the surface of the ocean, and no thanks to many of the used containers. And if you go to many of the refuse dumping sites, it's the same thing you see there too. So this is one other issue that is also devastating the environment. Many of the third world nations today are finding ways of dealing with plastic materials, and you can see cottage industries are also springing up to recycle plastic materials. So I believe that with this recycling effort, it will also help in dealing with the waste and the hazard that plastic materials will bring to the environment. Even though Niger State is yet to begin to address this matter, but I think one thing at a time. Let us begin to look at how they can, the effort that they will make in revamping the environment first, through green economy, and then probably we can move to some other areas of plastic waste.
Hello, good morning. Okay, 090388088883 is the number to call in, and of course make your comments. Let's see if we have some comments on our Facebook page also. Okay, let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, sir. Yes, sir.
I lost your connection.
Oh,
so I was about to say that the delegation that has represented Niger State at COP29 have a lot of roles to play by bringing in feedback from that conference. First of all, they should look at the target. What is the goal for the conference? The conference is looking at financing loss and damage funds. And Niger State has the capacity to develop or leverage on the national climate change policy. So bring in those the loss and damage funds, over $20 billion hanging in the air. All what Niger State needs to do is to adopt the national climate change policy, as well as adopt the national contributions. Then leverage on the loss and damage climate change funds. The conference of parties that is taking place in Baku this year, 2024, is focusing on financing developing countries. And Niger State also has a solar capacity that can transit the whole of north central Nigeria from fossil fuels to energy. I was personally hoping that after the Green Economy Summit, the committee that the governor set up to handle that the summit should bring up a logical framework, that will bring in both state and non-state actors, that will help in driving the fallout of the summit. But it has been silent. I will comment first of all the Commissioner for Environment and Climate Change. He's making efforts, but the committee needs to bring out the report from that summit. There are commitments. The investors that came for that summit made a lot of commitments. And if they don't follow up, the investors will run away. Because what we are hearing is Niger State is not safe, Niger State is not safe. But if those funds coming, there are mitigation strategies, there are adaptation strategies, and resilience strategies that can help mitigate the impact of insecurity or the impact of climate change, because all of those insecurities you are hearing about, climate change also contributes. Another thing I also want to say is that the governor also made a commitment to train and educate young people who will serve as key drivers of climate change messaging. Because in Niger State here, when you interact with people, out of 100, only one person will have clear knowledge about climate change, including the heat that we experience in Mina or in Niger State or Nigeria as a whole. So the level of knowledge is very minimal. So that commitment needs to be upheld. And that committee that delivered the summit also has a role to play. If we train 1,000 Nigerites or Niger State youth in Niger State, they will also be able to have, because they were able to harvest these loss and damage funds. Those funds, when they come in, the funders or donors are looking at people who are below 35 years old who can drive this thing for a long period of time. So we need to train. We need people to know. We need to create awareness. I don't know where your studio is, but if I know, I will also want to be part of the climate change messaging in Niger State. And lastly, I want to say that the delegation that Niger State has sent to the Conference of Parties 2024 is a very strategic delegation that has a very key role to play by bringing in the fallout, the feedback from that COP, because COP29 is the COP for finance, the financing COP. So they have a role to play. And if they don't do that, it means the effort of the intended government will not be achieved. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Well, we are located at Boso Estate. You can come there. Prestige FM is very famous there.
Exactly.
So, Okay, let's see if we can take one call again. The next one. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Morning, Mama. Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Okay, I have heard the topic, and it's very nice topic. So, concerning climate change cannot be changed without getting the substitute. We are used to firewood and charcoal. At least the government should have something to substitute the one we are using. They shouldn't do as fuel subsidy without planning anything. They will start coming. The charcoal now is getting out of hand. So it's better if the government have the substitute for that. So the something is going to be very nice achievement. But we should have substitute. If not, we are going to find it so difficult to achieve our aim concerning the climate change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, exploring other substitutes, especially that has to do with domestic energy usage, is a concern for all. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Madam Memuna.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Dr. Dantala.
Morning, how are you?
Fine, sir. This is MD from Kaufman.
All right, MD, make your comments.
Dr. Dantala, I most commend you always for wonderful analysis. Having said that, Dr. Dantala, we are lacking one thing in Niger State. We always want to initiate a lot of programs, but in terms of implementation is a problem in Niger State. I don't know, this time around maybe it will be another different way of implementing this delegation being sent to Brazil. Because what am I saying to you, Dr. Dantala, you said it all entirely in your submission. Since the summit of green economy, Dr. Dantala, the whole point aim of initiating the policy is left in the carpet, honestly. Because Dr. Dantala, I never hear anything about the summit anymore since then. So is that the relevant ministry should, whatever kind of policy this government is trying to initiate, let them bring it to the speed so that at least they will implement it. But after initiating policy, Dr. Dantala, everybody will just went and remain silent. So where are we heading to? So it's more or less, if the government is trying to initiate a policy, let the authorities concerned try to implement those policies so that at least the masses will see what is on ground. But we are lacking that in Niger State, honestly, in terms of implementation of all this most of this policy. But I hope and pray if the delegation be sent to the Brazil, once they come to, they will try to implement whatever they've come to agree in the summit.
It's not Brazil, it's Baku in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, so that Netherlands will see as the effort of the Mr. Governor. Is that the information manager with most of this ministry will bring all this kind of policy to a speed line so that the people will feel the impact. Most of our information managers, they choose to remain silent. Honestly, that is why people don't even know what is going on about the policy of the government. The other opportunity is still true. That's my take.
All right, thank you. That's the last call I'll be taking the program. Ismail Zakwe, he's saying the World Climate Change Summit attended by the representative for Niger State is a good idea, but the government should have been doing its primary duties before embarking on the verge. Our parks, forests are getting occupied with banditry activities, and the cost for technology innovation should have been invented in order to be replaced by cutting down of the trees for economic impact and survival. Cutting down of trees for firewood usage in our communities and not replacing them. To me, a lot is needed to be done seriously. I remember in the first year of this administration, they were applauded sensitization to the people, but in no time everything went mute. So how serious could the summit be effective where insecurity, poverty, and UN impactful development is not directly affecting the citizens? My humble submission. Thank you very much, Ismail Zapai, for that comment on our Facebook page. Dr. Mohammed Ntalali, let's wrap up the program. After the summit, what next?
Yes, my advice to the government, especially the delegates, is to come back with a much more improved blueprint, as well as even presentation made by other participants, so that we can see how we can adopt their own presentations to our own peculiarities here. That is number one. And then government must continue to make effort to improve on the creation of awareness on the issue of climate change and green economy in Niger State. And then thirdly, the information managers must also redouble their effort by working closely with relevant ministries and agencies to ensure that this thing is locally driven in such a way that the locals will be aware of what the government is doing and how they can key into that particular policy. The entire world is changing towards that direction, and Nigeria and indeed Niger State, with our vast potentialities, we cannot afford to be sitting just like that. Transformational green economy is what is on the offering today. There are many thousands of improved seedlings that we can bring in here, plant them, and they will generate the requisite income that we so much desired for.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Ansala Aliu, for being part of the program Nigeria Today, where we take a look at the World Climate Change Summit 2024 and Niger State well represented, issues arising from that. You can join us tomorrow for a fresh package of the program on behalf of the DCA on duty, Mesa, and of course Stephen Jia. My name is Maimuna Muhammad Babangida saying good morning.